First, you've gone to go get tested. You've taken the initiative to do that. You waited, and then you've received your results, and you find out that you've been diagnosed with something. Don't panic, okay? Keep a clear mind while you feel your feelings. Do that at least. Try not to let the feeling of devastation take over you, because you have to think. So breathe while you're feeling your feelings. And usually, when you get the diagnosis, it's either you see it on your medical records that you've gotten under your test results, or if you are taking too long to respond to that, someone gives you a call and they ask you to come back in, either to your primary care doctor or wherever you chose to get your test. Wherever you chose to get tested at, whether it be the health department or anywhere else, they'll tell you to come in so that they can counsel you. Usually, they'll tell you if what you have is curable or incurable, if you haven't looked at your results already yourself on your medical records. If it's curable, however you like to say it, okay, I'm from the South, honey. I slip in and out of Ebonics and proper English. But they'll tell you it's curable. It's like gonorrhea, chlamydia, or syphilis or anything like that. Those are curable, and usually they give you some type of antibiotic for gonorrhea, chlamydia. With syphilis, they also give you antibiotics. Both are for either one, GC, which is gonorrhea, chlamydia, or syphilis. They tend to give you a shot of sorts, and sometimes they will also give you a pill. It's either both of those or one or the other. I would presume it depends on how severe the infection is, and usually something that is on a severity scale is syphilis. Again, syphilis has the beginning stages and latent stages. The beginning stage of syphilis is curable. Latent syphilis can be curable. However, whatever damage that's been done to your body is usually permanent. Or if it's so far in latent syphilis, it's only treatable. So you'll figure out what you'll have to do for treatment if you have severe latent syphilis. Now, when it comes to things that are incurable, such as HIV, hepatitis C, or herpes, then you will start on an ongoing treatment journey. Herpes, it's usually the pills, which are Valtrex. Valtrex is usually the most popular form of treatment and medication for herpes. Hepatitis C is something a little different. I do believe that with hepatitis, you take medication. Don't quote me on that. That's not something I know for sure. That's only something I've read on occasion. But hepatitis C, they'll, give you medication for that. For HIV, you will have to find your specific regimen for that. And it depends on your T cell count, okay, the antibodies that are formed in your blood, and if it's early detection or not. So if you've only been tested in, like, I don't know, once every 10 years and your results for HIV come back positive, then more than likely, you'll be put on some sort of doctor's visits and such, and you're given like a handful of pills that you have to take daily. If the diagnosis was detected early, like you go every 3 to 6 months and you went 3 months before and your HIV results were negative, but then you come back 3 months later and now, okay, you've tested positive for HIV. First, at least, they give you another test just to ensure it's not a false positive. And if that comes back as a for sure positive, then they test you for like how many T cells or the T cell count in your blood, and then the antibodies that are forming. And then they decide what formula of medication works best for you. And once you've been diagnosed with anything, whether it's incurable or if it's curable, you have it's imperative, okay? Despite the humiliation or embarrassment and shame that's attached to it, you have to let your partners know. It's not just morally correct, but it aids it supports in early detection for other people and could potentially stop it from spreading further among other humans. So you will have to let your partners know, okay? You can be prepared to either, because you have to understand human behavior. People will get defensive. People will probably verbally attack you. Yes, that's a possibility. However, I would say most of the time people will be shocked and fearful at first. They probably won't be like, are you sure? What? Are you serious? When did you find out? You know, they're going to ask a barrage of questions all at once because, I mean, they're just as shocked and terrified as you are, okay? You let them know. If they ask for details, okay, like if you've been lying to them saying you're the only person I'm having sex with, but that wasn't the truth, they're going to ask you, well, how many other people you were having sex with? If it's, I don't know, a lot, admit to that. Or it was 2 or 3 other people. One of those other people was, you know, someone who sleeps with other people or people who take drugs intravenously. If you know that much about a person, which hopefully you do. If you don't, again, we're humans. We take a lot of risk, especially when it comes to sex. So don't judge yourself too much, and also don't be offended if that person is bothered by the information that you didn't know that that person, the other persons you were having sex with, took drugs intravenously. So be prepared to answer the questions of the partners that you had and are just now receiving this information just like you did. If they ask you how'd you find out, because you went tested and you got found, you know, you found out that way because you went tested. Or if they ask you, are you taking any medications? Yes, I just started my treatment. They might even ask you, what are you taking? If you don't feel like answering that question, that's something I personally can understand. My response would be, if I had to answer that question myself, would be, I would like for you just to know that I'm taking treatment. I am taking my medication. I don't want to exactly divulge exactly what my medical regimen is for my HIV. Simple as that. All right. And overall, forgive yourself. Try not to hate, dislike, or disown the other person or persons who could have infected you. And understand that the choices you make and the actions you take also affect other people. This is why developing habits about sexual health and being a bit more open about getting tested, sharing results, and if you have been diagnosed with anything curable or incurable, expressing and divulging that information to people you plan on having sex with. Even if it's someone casual, okay? It's not really a bad thing to be open, honest, and have some sort of care for someone you're just sharing your body with, and it's not a deep, meaningful connection of sorts. We're here to be safe, be prepared, and be informed.